Hey guys, I'm gonna let the crowd build up as always. Was on with you earlier this morning and it took a very long time for the crowd to build up. I don't know if that's Facebook, I don't know if that's the cell service, but I can tell you I have all my bars right now, so there's no cell phone service BS on this one. We're at 7 people. Yeah, this has got to be Facebook. 45 people. 1,000 people. All right, I apologize, Facebook. It's not you. All right, a few things I want to tell you today. 2 days ago, I spoke to you about Obamacare, right? And would you know it, 2 days later, we hear today that 25% increases are set for 2017 with Obamacare. I'm not going to get too deep into that today, but I will get into it further tomorrow. I'm going to really drill that down so this way you could explain to people who think they're going to vote for Hillary or they're undecided at this point, and you could explain to them what it really means. Because unfortunately, the news, they just say the 25% increase and they move on, and people don't understand exactly what it means long term. It is drastic. We're talking about rates that are higher than a mortgage or a rent. But today, I want to talk to you about something that I saw earlier today on a page where there are a lot of youth on there. And so I'm specifically speaking to the kids, to the youngsters. First, there was something today. They said, oh, well, I feel bad for the refugees and we should be letting them in. And Donald Trump wants to put a ban on all Muslims. And it's not the way it goes. Yes, he did say a ban on all Muslims, but he has come back off that to a more reasonable approach, which is a more vetting centric system. So let me explain a few things to you that nobody ever discusses. First and foremost, Hillary Clinton does want to raise the amount of Syrian refugees that we take into this country by a significant percentile. We took in more than 10,000 this year. It was only supposed to be 10,000, but Obama snuck in an extra couple of thousand. Hillary is proposing that we up that to 65,000. Now understand, these are 65,000 Syrian refugees. We also take in, it will probably be around 100 to 110,000 total refugees through the entire world. But the difference with the Syrian refugees, other than the other refugee programs we have, is that we have no real way of vetting these people. No way at all. And the reason being is because we don't connect with Syria. We don't connect with other countries in that region in a way that we need to in order to be able to get their systems and their background checks. So we've got a guy, let's just say his name is Joe Syria, and Joe Syria wants to come over here. We have no access to the documentation that follows this gentleman. We have no way to tell who he is and who he is not. And so right now, let me tell you a couple of things about the Syrian refugees that are coming over here. First of all, 90% of them are on food stamps. 70% of them are getting financial assistance. Now, if you're a youngster, maybe you don't think that's any big deal because you're not working yet. But ask your mom and dad how they feel about the fact that it is costing the United States $20,000 per refugee. If you take Hillary Clinton's entire program into effect, it's billions, multiple billions of dollars every single year. That's stuff that's going to come out of services for you. For you, it's what comes out. Now, from a national security standpoint, it's also detrimental. But I just want to speak to you about the opportunities because there's a lot of you who are still living with mom and dad. There are a lot of you who are going to continue to live with mom and dad a lot longer than mom and dad lived with our parents. I was out of my house by 24 years old. I'd be shocked if my kids are completely out of the house because the opportunities for them are not as great as they were for our generation, and it's just so expensive. Let me explain to you how it is that the deck is stacked against you as an American, all right? As an American that was born in this country. Let's take these companies, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and Apple. I guarantee you as a young kid, if I said to you, when I say young kid, to me, young 20s is a young kid, 27 is a young kid. Imagine if I said to you, you can work at one of those 4 companies. You would jump at it. I don't know a single kid in America that wouldn't want to work for one of those 4 companies. Well, the odds are you never will be able to. We are pumping out, remember this term, STEM, S-T-E-M, stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. We are pumping out twice as many STEM graduates here in the United States than jobs available. So let's say, for instance, there was 100,000 jobs available in Silicon Valley at those companies I just told you. We are pumping out 200,000 graduates. So there aren't a lot of jobs there. And that's why your buddy is probably working in a sneaker store, despite the fact that he's got this unbelievable $200,000 degree in his hand. Why is it that he can't get the job? And that's because Apple and Microsoft and the ones I mentioned, they want to get their work from work visas from overseas. And they're lobbying for this sort of thing. And that's one of the reasons why they champion behind Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton will ensure the fact that those visas will increase. And Facebook and Microsoft, they're going to bring these people in. Now, why do they want them versus want you? This is where it really, really will get under your skin if you think about it, okay? Microsoft and these guys claim that they can't find the American workers to do this sort of thing. Well, I've already debunked that, telling you about how we're doubling our graduates compared to jobs available. But the reason why they want these foreign workers is not only can they pay them cheaper, but they're handcuffed. Let's say, for instance, you go to work for Apple and you do a killer job. You come up with, let's say, iTunes, all right? You come up with a new something for iTunes. You walk into, what's his name, Cook? You walk into Jim Cook's office and you say, hey, listen, I just created this app. You're paying me $75,000 a year. It's kind of expensive. I'd like to get bumped up to $100,000. He knows that if he doesn't give you the $100,000, you're going to go down the street to Facebook and say, hey, I'm the guy who just created that iTunes app. I'd like to do it now for Facebook. Facebook's going to try to, they're going to try to steal him. They're going to try to steal you away. So they're going to pay you more money. It's the whole competitive thing that goes back and forth. You get it? Okay. Now, if they hire somebody through the visa program, they do what's called sponsoring a person. So when they sponsor that person to come over from overseas, there is no going to Facebook. So if that person is the one who created the app, let's say for Apple, and they want to make more money, and they walk into Cook's office and say, hey man, I've been banging it out for you, you're doing a great job, we came in under budget, we came in quicker than we were supposed to, I'd like to get a little bit more money, it's costing me more money to live here than I realized, and if you don't give me more money, I'm going to go to Facebook. He says, no, that doesn't happen. See this paper right here? This is your sponsor paper. If you don't like what you're making, I'll send you back home. And so these people are handcuffed, and the cheap labor for these companies is what drives all their profits. Now, you think I'm wrong on this? As an entrepreneur for 30 years, I can tell you that if I don't have the right workforce, I don't make profits. I can't build my business. All four of those companies that I just talked to you about, Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Facebook, all of them have had their stocks double over the last 10 years. Some of them quadruple. So it basically comes down to what I'm telling you being true. Congress has put out reports that have shown that we are pumping out twice as many students in the STEM industry than jobs available, and yet they're still looking to get workers from overseas. So you got to be careful what you wish for, because if you wish for Hillary, you are going to wind up getting people who are going to come in to take the jobs away from you. I can guarantee you that is what will happen. It's happening right now. And it's also another reason why, keep in mind, that the wages get depressed and why you can't get ahead, why you can't buy your home. And that is because when there's so many people coming in, so many new workers coming in, the supply and demand for you is minimal, is very, very minimal. So it doesn't make you a hater and it doesn't make you a racist if you don't want these people coming in such massive numbers. It doesn't make you a bad person if you want to protect yourself from the next 9/11 because we can't vet these people correctly. All right? Remember that. It is a major part of the Hillary cell that we are racists and we're bad people because we don't want to reach our hand out to the people who are being forced from Syria. It's not the case at all. There are cheaper alternatives to where we could create safe zones over for them in the Middle East, over for them in Europe. We can help over there. It would cost a lot less for us to help somebody back in their homeland than we would here. I've already told you, it's $20,000 per person here. We would probably be able to do it for $5,000 or less per person back over there. So the economies don't make sense to bring these people here. Another thing, and this sounds anti-Muslim. It's not anti-Muslim at all. It's pro-American. Keep in mind that the majority of the people who are coming in right now as refugees are Muslims. 98 point something % are Muslims. Very few are Christian. The Muslims that are coming over through refugee programs, most of them believe in what's called Sharia law. And so they have a very hard time coming over here and adapting to our lifestyle and to the way that our country is created. And that's why a lot of times if you look in some of these Somalian communities, I'm not saying they're bad people whatsoever, but this isn't what they're used to. And so there is this huge disconnect. And many of these people just cannot get jobs, and they wind up being a cost to us forever and ever and ever. So please keep that in mind. Please keep it in mind that it has absolutely nothing to do with racism. It has nothing to do with hate. It has to do with the economies. It has to do with how much this costs and what's realistic and what is not realistic. So I wanted to give that to you about the Muslim Syrian refugees that are coming over and STEM workers, okay? So, again, one more time, just in conclusion, remember, if you are wanting Hillary Clinton because you think that Donald is a bad guy, remember what you're doing. You're asking for more competition in your own life. And that's really what it comes down to, all right? So, that said, don't forget to share these videos. We're doing remarkably well. I'm getting feedback from the big guys camp. Don't forget to share, all right? Until tomorrow, God bless you, God bless our troops, and God bless the United States of America. And thanks for tuning in.